You a little bit about Harry Reid, who I believe is quite possibly evil.
Quite possibly?
Yeah. Well, I'm leaving out. I'm leaving on the table that he's gone insane.
No,
you don't think
we tried to leave that on the table last summer.
Yeah, Evnile. We called him Evnile, evil and senile.
Yeah, we thought there was some possibility.
I think this is one of the most evil things I've heard, and
really bad.
Because there's no regret at all. Now, this is a guy who shares my faith. Actually, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
I really don't think he does.
He doesn't share my faith, because if that's the faith, I don't want anything to do with the faith. You remember when he went out on the floor of the Senate and he accused Mitt Romney, another guy who shares his faith, accused Mitt Romney of not paying his taxes. And at the time we were like, where's the evidence on that?
And of course there was none.
Right.
And I think it was the next day or the day after that the New York Times ran a big thing that he had been paying his taxes.
Right.
And yet Harry Reid continued with it. Let him prove it. Let him prove he's not paying his taxes. He hasn't paid his taxes. I said it because he hasn't. Well, he had no evidence whatsoever. The initial, if you remember right, accusation came from a phone call in his office. That we had no
I just talked to a guy. I just talked to a guy who knows. Well, who? What guy? I just talked to a guy who knows, and he said, "You
can't do that as Senate Majority. At least you shouldn't. You shouldn't be able to do that.
You shouldn't do that. No, forget about Senate Majority Leader.
No, I know, but anybody.
Bearing false witness against your brother.
Seems like that sounds...
I have never heard anyone recommend against that. There's no one on record saying you shouldn't bear false witness.
God.
Well, yeah, God has.
Yeah.
God has. That was one of the things that he wrote with his own finger on a rock.
Right.
Really?
That's how important that one was.
That was like, he's like, look, if you only do 10 things, make sure it's these 10. And that was one of them.
Really?
Out of all the things in the universe, he could have said, like, hey, wear a suit when you go into space.
Never
he could have said that. He didn't.
Never wear white after Labor Day. You know, those kinds of things.
Right.
Nothing.
He didn't say any of those.
No.
He said, don't bear false witness. And it's a pretty important one. Mm-hmm. So at the time, we were like, okay, well, who did he hear this from? What's the evidence? There is no evidence. New York Times proves there's no evidence. And we're like, what are you doing? And thinking that he's Evnile, that he's evil and senile, that maybe he just didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
So he's asked about it in a television interview as he's stepping down.
They're asking both about
the Koch brothers,
about the falsely accusing Mitt Romney and the Koch brothers, going after them every single day.
Okay.
I don't regret that at all. The Koch brothers. No one would help me. They were afraid the Koch brothers would go after them. So I did it on my own.
So no regrets about Mitt Romney, about the Koch brothers, because some people have even called it McCarthyite.
Well, they call it whatever they want. Romney didn't win, did he?
I hope they're listening to that in the church office building in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I hope they are too.
Because
I hope they are too.
That is unbelievable. That is flat out bearing false witness against your brother.
I mean, really,
flat out. And
specifically
being proud of it.
Yeah.
He's proud of it.
What you can't tell from hearing it is that he's smiling as he says it.
Yeah.
He's smiling as he admits that he had no evidence and was lying.
He almost bites his cheek. Do you notice that? Mm-hmm. He kind of looks down and he kind of has a smirk on his face while she's saying no regret for the Mitt Romney, and he's got a smirk, and he almost like bites his cheek to not just break out in a full-fledged grin. Mm-hmm. And then he's just got this smirk, and he's like, oh, call it what you want. Mitt Romney didn't win, did he? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Ends justify the means. It doesn't matter.
Saul Alinsky, ends justify the means. Let's give the tip of a hat to the first radical, Satan. I mean, that is evil.
It is.
Just evil.
Not Evnile.
It's evil. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know what's really amazing about it is, really, I haven't heard anything about this. We accept this now. We accept this. This is a guy who claims to be a religious guy. We accept it.
He says his religion informs everything he does. Mm-hmm. Wow. I missed that doctrine in Sunday school. I missed it.
I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with that. Having a hard time with that.
I'm a member of that church for a long time. I don't remember that doctrine.
You don't remember encouraging people to lie about others to further your political career?
No.
That's got to be in there somewhere.
I don't recall any place at all where you're not just encouraging people to do that. where you accept that.
What's that Muslim thing where it taqiyya, where they can lie to further Islam? But there's nothing like that in Mormonism. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. There's nothing like that in Christianity.
No, there's not.
I've not seen that in any Christian church.
There's not. Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what kind of Christianity he is. And this is not something, we have tried never to judge a man's soul.
No,
we've always been like,
but this is evil.
This is evil. This is evil. This is straight
you're judging
up
his actions here, not him. I'm not assigning where he's going to go in the next life. I have no idea.
But we have also I think we have also tried to give people the benefit of the doubt and everything else. He's admitting this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's admitting this and smiling about it. This is not our opinion. This is him.
It's a mobster smiling after a hit.
It's bad.
It is as bad as it could be. Even the Washington Post called it appalling. The Washington Post.
Oh, did they really? Post?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Even they call
I'm really happy about that.
Harry Reid's appalling defense of his attack on Mitt Romney's tax
Well, there is no defense. He's not defending it.
That's true.
He's just saying, I did it, and I'm proud of it.
But look, if you're surrounded by, let's say this. If the Democrats have the leadership of Harry Reid, who's willing to do that, how do you expect the rest of them to tell the truth? They accept it. Here's a religious guy who's like, don't worry about it. Just make sure they don't win. That's just, what else are they doing? What else are they doing?
Oh, can you imagine? This is what he's admitting to.
This is what he's admitting to. This is so bad. This is so bad.
This kind of brings a new spotlight on the speculation that he's quitting now so that they don't do a Republican investigation on him if a Republican wins.
It does. It does.
Because what else is bubbling under the surface with this guy?
After this comment, though, it's worth it going after him. I'm
telling you, learn the lesson that we learned as kids from Nixon and Ford. I don't care if they're no longer in there. If they broke the law, they must pay the price. You and I would.
Yep.
You and I would. And the reason why they don't do it is because, then the next guy's going to get in. They're just going to do the same thing. They're just going to go. Then stop doing the evil stuff. What do you think?
Too much to ask?
Yeah, apparently it is.
I guess.
Apparently it is.
We're not doing it.
Apparently it is.
And I hope, the Washington Post, I'm glad to see them kind of come out and say that it was appalling. But remember, at the time, this was not treated as a horrible lie with no evidence by anyone outside of talk radio. This was essentially accepted as an integral part of the presidential debate. Why wasn't Mitt Romney releasing his tax records? What was wrong with him? Has he paid them? They didn't beat Reid up. They beat Romney up over these claims. He's now admitting they were lies. He's proud of it. Does the media have to apologize as well?
Yes.
They should.
Yes.
They're not going to, but they should.
Because they knew that it wasn't. They knew it wasn't.
And they knew it wasn't.
Well, the New York Times said it.
Yeah, they said he had paid his taxes.
Now, he said he got a call from somebody in his office.
Do you believe there was ever a call?
I believe there might be a call. I believe there might have been somebody that called him. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Would you like me to further that?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Any rational person, however, got a call like that would not take it seriously without evidence.
I'm wearing my cowboy hat today, man. This is the wrong day to pick it. We got to move on. Today, I'm feeling a little like Don Imus. Today's not the day. Let's move on.
Katie Freeman is coming up in just a moment. The doors curtains.
The guys, I walk in this morning, they're like, what's with the cowboy hat? I mean, you're turning into Don Imus, and I'm like, I am in a pissy mood, so maybe I am Don Imus.
So, let's move on.
Before I start saying too much, let's move on.
Okay.
All righty.